In a world filled with mysteries, there are some individuals who possess an uncanny ability to predict the future. One such person is Baba Vanga, a blind mystic known for her eerily accurate prophecies. But did she really foresee some of the most devastating events in history, such as the Chernobyl disaster, the 9/11 attacks, and the rise of President Obama? Stay tuned till the end of this video as we take a deep dive into the world of Baba Vanga and her most accurate predictions. But before we begin to unravel the mysteries behind Baba Vanga's prophecies, let's first take a step back and learn a little about her background. Born in 1911 in the small village of Strumica, which is now part of present-day North Macedonia, Baba Vanga, whose real name was Vangelia Pandeva Dimitrova, faced a tragic incident at the tender age of 12. A fierce storm picked her up and threw her into a field where she was found with her eyes caked in dust and dirt. This event left her completely blind. Vanga claimed that after this incident, she began to develop her psychic abilities and started having visions of the future. For decades, people from all walks of life and countries visited Baba Vanga, seeking guidance and prophecies about their future. Some even called her the Nostradamus of the Balkans. Baba Vanga passed away in 1996, but her predictions continue to captivate the world. Now that we've got a glimpse of who Baba Vanga was, let's explore her most accurate predictions and try to figure out if she really did foresee some of the most tragic and significant events in recent history. Prediction of the Chernobyl disaster. On April 26, 1986, the world experienced one of the worst nuclear disasters in history at the Chernobyl nuclear power plant in Ukraine. The explosion and subsequent release of radioactive materials had catastrophic effects on both the environment and the people living nearby. But did Baba Vanga predict this horrifying event? In the 1970s, she reportedly said, "A huge bird will fall in Ukraine and the world will weep." Many believe that this prophecy refers to the Chernobyl disaster. The huge bird could symbolize the nuclear reactor, and the world indeed wept as it witnessed the calamity and its long-lasting consequences. It's important to note that some interpretations of Baba Vanga's words have added chilling details to the prophecy. While the reference to a huge bird falling in Ukraine initially seems vague, further analysis of her statements reveals some eerie connections to the disaster. It's been said that Baba Vanga also mentioned a great dragon that would be poisoning the world. Many believe that this great dragon represents the radioactive cloud that spread across Europe after the explosion at the Chernobyl nuclear power plant. The cloud's toxic effects continue to impact people and the environment even today, more than 3 decades later. Furthermore, some accounts of Baba Vanga's prophecies indicate that she specifically mentioned the year 1986 in connection with the Chernobyl disaster. If this is true, it only serves to strengthen the argument that she accurately predicted the catastrophe. Additionally, it has been reported that Baba Vanga warned about the dangers of nuclear power in general. She is said to have expressed concern about the destructive potential of atomic energy and the irreversible consequences of accidents involving nuclear facilities. In this context, her prediction of the Chernobyl disaster could be seen as a cautionary tale about the risks associated with the use of nuclear power. Considering these additional details, it's hard not to be astonished by the accuracy of Baba Vanga's prophecy regarding the Chernobyl disaster. While skeptics may still argue that her predictions are open to interpretation, the connections between her words and the events of April 26, 1986 are undeniably compelling. The Chernobyl disaster was a tragic event, but it's not the only major incident that Baba Vanga is said to have predicted. Let's move on to one of the most shocking and unforgettable moments in history: the 9/11 attacks. Did Baba Vanga foresee the 9/11 attacks? On September 11, 2001, the world stood still as terrorists hijacked 4 airplanes and crashed them into the World Trade Center towers in New York City, the Pentagon, and a field in Pennsylvania. The world was in shock. and it seemed unthinkable that anyone could have ever predicted such a devastating event. But Baba Vanga may have done just that. In 1989, she made a prediction that stated, "Horror, horror, the American brethren will fall after being attacked by the steel birds. The wolves will be howling in a bush, and innocent blood will be gushing." The steel birds in this prophecy are widely believed to represent the hijacked aeroplanes, while the American brethren could be a reference to the victims of the attack. The wolves howling in a bush might refer to the terrorists and their plans hidden from view. Upon closer inspection, there are other elements in this prophecy that seem to correlate directly with the 9/11 attacks. For instance, the mention of wolves howling in a bush has been interpreted by some as a reference to the Bush administration, which was in power at the time of the attacks. The howling could symbolize the administration's response to the tragedy, including the initiation of the War on Terror. Additionally, it's interesting to note that Baba Vanga's prediction of the attack is said to have been made in 1989, just 12 years before the actual event. This proximity in time lends further credence to the idea that her prophecy was eerily accurate. Another striking detail is that Baba Vanga supposedly mentioned that the attack would occur in a city with two brothers, which many believe to be a reference to the Twin Towers of the World Trade Center. The fact that the towers were often referred to as the twins only strengthens the connection between her words and the tragic events of September 11, 2001. Taking these additional details into account, it becomes increasingly difficult to dismiss the accuracy of Baba Vanga's prophecy regarding the 9/11 attacks. While some may continue to argue that her predictions are subject to interpretation, the connections between her words and the catastrophic events of that fateful day are undeniably compelling, leaving us to ponder the true extent of her prophetic abilities. As we continue to explore Baba Vanga's most accurate predictions, let's now take a look at a prophecy that seems to predict the rise of a certain charismatic leader, President Barack Obama. Prediction of the rise of President Obama. In the world of politics, few leaders have captured the hearts and minds of people around the world quite like President Barack Obama. His rise to power in 2008 was a historic event, with him being the first African-American president of the United States. But could Baba Vanga have foreseen his ascent to the highest office in the land? In the 1970s, Baba Vanga reportedly made a prediction that said an African American will be the 44th president of the United States, and he will be the last one. She also mentioned that this president would face a crisis that would either destroy the world or forever change it. The accuracy of this prophecy is chilling. Barack Obama was indeed the 44th President of the United States, and his presidency saw numerous crises, such as the global financial meltdown, ongoing conflicts in the Middle East, the Arab Spring, and the escalating tensions with North Korea. While these events did not lead to the world's destruction, they certainly had a lasting impact on global politics and the course of history. It's important to recognize the specificity of the prediction. Baba Vanga not only foresaw an African-American president, but also accurately identified him as the 44th president. This level of detail adds weight to the argument that she genuinely predicted Obama's rise to power. Another fascinating detail is that Baba Vanga's prediction of the 44th president was made decades before Obama even entered the political arena. The fact that she was able to foresee such a significant event in the distant future is a testament to her extraordinary abilities. As we've seen, Baba Vanga's predictions have astounded people for decades, and her ability to foresee some of the most significant events in recent history is truly astonishing. But as with all prophecies, there will always be skeptics and believers. So, did Baba Vanga really predict the Chernobyl disaster, the 9/11 attacks, and the rise of President Obama? The answer depends on how much weight you give to her prophecies and your interpretation of her words. Regardless of where you stand on this matter, it's undeniable that Baba Vanga's predictions have left an indelible mark on the world. Thank you for joining us on this thrilling exploration of Baba Vanga's most accurate predictions. Until next time, stay curious and keep exploring the mysteries of our world.